Now, with a pandemic rent freeze set to expire at the end of the year, many housing advocates fear that many families could end up homeless. And now they're calling for that rent freeze to last at least until the pandemic is over. Notices of rent increases have already been sent to some tenants across the province.
We are concerned. We have been concerned for many years.
Warnings of evictions and families living beyond their means, just a fraction of the concerns being heard from housing advocates.
Well, this tenant or this acre member that came and she received a $14 increase. But if people only have is in a fixed income and they only had $75 to live, what happened in 3 years is this person is going to be in the streets.
To help renters during the pandemic, the province passed legislation to freeze rent last year. For 2022, Ontario has set an increase guideline of 1.2%. But with the Canada Recovery Benefit also set to end in a few days, tenant groups want the government to consider extending the freeze until people are able to get back on their feet.
If we want to recover, it should be at least for 5 years. Because that way will allow the market to be healthy until we start to build more housing.
Many of the families that we see have very young children, and if they have difficulties paying their rent, the fear of losing their housing is very real, and the impact to the children it is significant.
Gladys Wong is the executive director of Neighborhood Information Post and is working with the Toronto Rent Bank, assisting renters who are having a hard time paying rent by granting them interest-free loans and grants. She says the requests for their services have gone up by 43% from 2019 to 2020.
Based on our numbers, 2/3 of our applicants, of our rent bank applicants, are applying to the rent bank because of COVID-related plus employment-related issues. We've got applicants whose rent is actually 80 or 90% of their monthly income. So that's very significant.
Wong says with the rent freeze coming to an end, she expects that number to only increase. And like tenant groups, there are fears families won't be able to keep a steady roof over their heads in 2022.
With the rent being increased in January of next year, we are very sure that the number of applications to the rent bank will continue to go up.
If we move the city, we should be able to live here. So this is something that is very concerning, and it should be the first concern for the government.
Now, landlords need to give tenants 90 days notice if they do plan on increasing the rent. So that means that tenants that will have to pay more in January should have received a notice by now. Also, if you believe that you've received an improper rent increase, you can dispute that at the Landlord Tenant Board within 12 months.